One of the comments that I've been getting from a lot of you folks is we want to see more of the process. We want to see how you figure out what you got, what the blades look like, the scrapers. We need detail. We want to see some time with the artifacts that are coming off the sites. And the more I thought about it, I thought, okay, that's good, but what you really need to see is when we collect this stuff, how we process it. Where do we start? Well, how have I organized? Which looks like chaos right now, but there is an organization here. And I use colanders, and there's a couple colanders over here, and this is all washed material that has been soaked and rinsed and soaked and rinsed several times, dried, and then so from there we pull stuff out, we work it down the line, and so you're going to get to watch some of that process. Now all these little bags sitting around are different categories. For example, fired flint, or flint that has engravers or scallops, or flint that is extremely large, or the bases of a uniform piece, or whole uniface pieces, broken uniface pieces. And they'll all go into these various bags, and then they'll get stored. And then on some winter night, when it snows 3 feet deep and the electric goes off and I have a candle burn, I'll pull out my boxes and figure out where I'm going with them. So anyway, it's good to have all you with me. And I've got one of my mentorees that who's been a lot of fun to work with, and there are others, and maybe from time to time you'll get to see us at work. But the bottom line is, Chris is comfortable. He knows that you can't learn unless you ask questions, and that there's really no mistakes. You use ideas, and if this isn't right, this kind of gets you closer to the target, and you're going to see that. So we'll get his opinion, his ideas on some things, and then Dr. Indiana Jones will hone it down and put a final word on it. Now I'm going to show you two quick frames, and these have come off the sites that we're looking at right now. Look at the engravers. This was a triple right here, and it just snapped right here from usage like that. That's really unusual. This is a great overshot with a side scraper on both sides. But look at all the end scrapers, the flake knives that are coming out here. More end scrapers with an engraver right there. End scraper with an engraver right there. A multiplicity of these coming off the site. So eventually you'll learn that, but you have to get familiar with them before you're going to learn that. No panic, it'll come with time. And then 99% of everybody, and most of you, are just walking right over these. But on this site, I can't. These are giant uniface pieces. A lot of these are side scrapers. A lot of these are just end scrapers. A lot of these are just plain uniface knives. These are spoke shavers right here, usually associated with the late paleo culture that came off the site. So this is full of side scrapers, blades, and these are the things that you pull out. Again, most of the time they just look like a big flake of flint, but take it home, wash it, clean it, and look at every side all the way around a piece on both sides and see what you end up with. So I'll get these out of our way, and then we can get rocking, and you can see or get an idea of what you may want to do. Now, I keep in abundance these little bags with me, and I highly encourage you to look into these as well. I'm not sure where to hold these to help you get the best light on them, but most of the pieces you find are going to be little, and these little bags will take care of it. But if you're like me, tomorrow you'll forget what's in your bag. So with a lot of kindness, I say, put your information on it, put your site number on it, and a real brief description of what we're looking at in here. That way, you won't have to pull it out of the bag, relook at it, and figure out what you got already. It's done. And you can put these in a box and get back to them later. Now, I was showing Chris a couple pieces here that really were a lot of fun. It's here somewhere. Oh, okay. Can you see this one? It reminds me a little bit of mossy agate, but this is a really, really high quality Coshocton gray flint. But what's really neat is that we have our cone of percussion right here behind my little tag, and then we have the sides have been worked all the way around, so we have an end side scraper, and this is a really unique piece. Again, when they're dirty, it looks like a flake of flint. The reminder is when you're out in the field collecting, collect. And then when you get home, you can wash and look at them. For me, I collected these 2 months ago, and I'm just now getting into them, and I'm starting to wash these. So these were pieces that Chris and I looked at a few minutes ago, and I was showing him a piece that I found really interesting. And it's a blade, but what's really cool, this is a blade that came off a core, and a lot of these, originally come off of cores, but uniquely, this has part of the base or the platform of the core on it. And it's a very specific type of blade, a parallel blade that comes off these cores. And he was asking me about this, and I said, well, Chris, what we're looking at is part of the base of the core right here. And this would have been on like this. I hope this is showing. If it isn't, I'll pull them out of the bags. But they hit it here, knocked it off, so you have a little bit of the base on it right here. And then, of course, you have the blade going down like this. These are unusual. These are nice. And a lot of times we associate these with Adina and Hopewell. But the Paleo also did a really great job with these as well. Usually we don't find them this long or this nice, but this is good. This is a great blade off of a really nice parallel core. Okay. Well, Chris, here's the plan tonight.
Okay.
Why don't you reach in the thing? Let's just, first one you get, see what you got, talk out loud what you're seeing.
Okay.
And we'll see where we go.
All right. So the first thing I notice is it's uniface, and it's really nice gray Coshocton flint. I'm looking for the cone. It is down here. So I'm going to the opposite end and see where it's been worked into a scraper.
Okay, so we have a uniface and scraper.
Yep.
Chris, look at this though. This is of interest to me. Right here. Did you take a look at that?
Yeah.
Do you think we have an engraver there?
I think we do. Yes.
Now, people, the way we would confirm this is we would use our magnifiers and see if they intentionally remove chippage out of here to create the tip. And oftentimes at the end of a blade or flake like this, sometimes you get a rollover, sometimes you don't. But in this case, you usually have flint that's a little more stable than the real thin sides, and they reworked it. So we have an end scraper and an engraver on this piece. Good. All right.
Okay.
So I get it, and my job now is to say, good job, Chris. And then eventually what I'll do is put the site number on it, and I'll find a bag that fits for this piece. Okay? Right.
Okay. So the next one, we got another uniface. Looks to me like Nelly flint. And looking for the cone. And the cone's down here. You can see there's also some thinning here, some thinning flakes. And it looks like it's been broken on the opposite end. And I can't tell if this has been a little retouch here.
Okay.
But I think it's been broken, so I think it's could have been part of a blade.
All right. What about some of this?
Yeah, it looks like there's some retouch.
Some of this work going on here, and this rise, depression, rise, depression, and even right here maybe broken off right here.
Yeah, it looks like we might have had an engraver.
Yeah, and this is a problem that you folks are going to run into, and I run into this too. A lot of times we're finding these because they would be expended flake tools, and they broke off here. This one's smooth from usage. It broke off here. They've got more flint. Give it a pitch. So basically, good job, Chris. The reason I'm having him speak out loud is the same reason I would tell you if we were walking a field together or if we were working. When you speak out loud, you're actually taking the knowledge. The knowledge would be like a seed, and you're planting it. But if you just think it in your head, it's not going anywhere. It's not getting planted. It's just loose and floating around. But once you say it, once you get it and you confirm it, then it starts to go into that think tank. So we definitely have a uniface piece. This has been worked a lot right along the side. I think we have a broken, and I can use my hand lens and look and see if I have broken tips of engravers right there. This is crude. The Eris is right here. This is a basal thinning flake. that was taken off the cone of percussion. And my experience is that this is oftentimes done with the paleo into the very, very early archaic in my area like that. But this is broke. This is prehistoric breaks right here. Okay, good job. Next.
Okay. Again, another uniface, really nice Coshocton flint, high quality. The cone is down here, and they've done a little thinning on the opposite side. And then looking on the opposite side of the flint, it's been worked into an end scraper, and it has another engraver in it.
Now, watch Chris, people. Watch how he's working. Is he just holding it and talking, or what are his fingers doing? His fingers are talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you've heard me say this to you when you're in your field or when you're looking at tools, to feel it. Those are your second set of eyes, and your tactile senses are phenomenal. And eventually you're going to be able to ID these with your eyes closed, reaching in there with your eyes closed. And he doesn't know what's coming next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Surprise.
We're getting comfortable. Okay, so let me double check and look what you got. So we have a uniface flake. It's been worked only on one side. Okay. Cone of percussion, or the bulb, is right there. Sometimes it's called the bulb of percussion or the cone of percussion. I'm going to flip him over. And the arris that shoots up this way, they tried to remove some of it, but either way, they got some basal thinning right here. Now that could be for hafting purposes, to better socket it into whatever they're hafting it, or to maybe give them a better leverage when they're holding it. I think probably this had something to do with hafting. And looking at this piece, can you see already, suspicious-wise, what's going on right there? So what we'll do is use our hand lens and we'll look at them on both sides, but I can already see this was purposely altered to create that. Oftentimes, a corner will break like this from usage, but they'll monopolize on the break and they'll resculpt it right here and they'll create an engraver. It looks to me like we had, again, here's the cone, here's the edge, and this broke out here, this broke in the process, but what they did, they took advantage of this break and they created an engraver. Okay, so we have an end scraper with an engraver. Good job, Chris. So what you'll find out what you're most comfortable with and what works best for you. Now, going through these colanders at the rate Chris and I are going through them, we'll be here next year. But when I'm doing this by myself, I'm just whipping right through them. Boom, 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 boom. What I wanted to show you, and I'm just using Ziploc bags. You may want to use little plastic containers with lids. But what I've got, I'm just going to mention how I've broken this down. I have a bag that takes all the engravers or the pieces that have scalloped edges. I have a bag that has overshots and rollovers. I have a bag that has fired flint. Over here, these are broken bifaces. Nelly chert, these are large broken bifaces in this bag, coming all the way around over here. These are uniface whole pieces in this bag. These are odd pieces of stone conundrums. I'm not sure what they are, but next week I might know, or I might meet one of you and you've got some good ideas that work. A bag of cores that have already come out of this field, cores, and then we have just broken bases without any of the distal end of the piece, just the broken base. And so these are just some ideas of some of the things. Hammerstones are popping up. What else have we got here? Broken uniface tools. And these are just the way I work. This is very comfortable for me and it works. And I've got these that are already labeled in this bag that over here. These guys have gone through the process. These are all perfect. And they are all sorts of engravers, of end scrapers, side scrapers. These are all whole, beautiful pieces that have come off this site already. Remember what I said? I had over 31-gallon bags filled that came off the site. And thanks to all of you walking over these and not picking them up, I have a great collection on this big site. Bottom line is we're losing our fields quicker than we're getting them. My number one landowner no longer plows. He got sold his plows and he's going strictly to drill or chisel or scratching the surface, scratching plants. So make the best out of what you got. Take your time, get your bags. You can always look at them during the winter. I really suggest that you get a friend, someone, one, two, or three of you, work through this with each other's collection, with each other's field. The more you touch these, the more you talk about these, the more you're going to learn, and the quicker you're going to learn, and the longer it's going to stay in your head. You're absolutely making that learning process a part of your life process. And that's the difference of meeting someone who seems to have a lot of answers and someone else that has a lot of word soup. No names mentioned here. So, hey, on behalf of my mentoree and myself, thank you for spending some time at the kitchen table. We'll see you again soon.